Hello class, this is Mr. Broussard and I'm sending you this video for the second week of our Composition 1 course for the fall of 2020. Hope you're all doing well. I unfortunately am not, so unfortunately been to the doctor a lot lately, and that's kind of why I haven't been sending these as fast as I would normally. I like to send these on Tuesday, but I pretty much have learned that I have to make sure I use whatever energy I can in whatever directions I can, which is why I'm doing this morning, a day later I'd hope, but also in the morning so that I can do these videos. I've already just done one, which is probably why you've noticed my voice is already going out due to my health issues. And just give you all a heads up, next week, obviously Monday, nobody's going to be physically on campus. I know this is an online course, but in case y'all wanted to get a hold of us, we're not going to be physically on campus at all on Monday because of Labor Day. And then Tuesday afternoon, I will not be on campus because I'm getting a CT scan to hopefully find out whatever this is. So just want to make sure you're aware of that in case you were trying to get a hold of me during those times through email or calling my office phone, that you won't be able to do that. Also, a reminder that if you do want to physically meet with me, we're going to have to set up actual appointments now because we're not allowed to have y'all just come onto campus and come to our offices. And when we do have those, we'll have to meet appointments, and they'll have to be in some of the classrooms we have because we're not allowed to meet with you in our offices because the offices by themselves are only about 10 feet by, I don't know, 6 themselves, unless you have to have 6 feet of distance. That can't be automatically assumed. Not that any of you want to meet with me right now because probably looking to be scaring the crap out of you right now, not want to come near me, which I totally understand. But if you do want to physically with me, we'll have to set up actual meetings in our classrooms that we do have here. So if you do want to get hold of me, but do note, obviously, not on campus Monday and afternoon on Tuesday. I will not be on campus then either. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. Diagnostics have been turned in. Most, if not all of them, have been, so good. I'm looking, I'm do the same video for 2 classes because I have 2 different ones. That is good. I only am missing about 4 of you here in this class. And in the other class, let's see, a different tab. More of y'all are missing it there. Now, the thing about the note that I noted, and this was noted to all of you, for those of you who have not turned a diagnostic, if you did not turn in a diagnostic, you are no longer in this course because that it was noted to you by the school that you must have these things. You must have a first week assignment that is turned in, and I noted to you both in last week's video, but also in the note that I sent yesterday, I do believe. I'll have to make sure I did send that to you all. Yes, that when I noted the diagnostic extension, that if it was not done, you are no longer in the course because that's that first diagnostic assignment is for a practical purpose to let me know what areas that you need help in. Not for an actual grade, but I would note if you passed it or failed it, if it had been for a grade. It is also to make sure that I note to you what areas that you're going to need some help in, both as individuals, but also as a class as a whole. But it is also to have a first week assignment to note that the student has actually showed up and done something. And if it is not done, especially considering I gave this class, both of these classes, 2 extensions, extended 24 hours and then another 24 hours, at this point it's too late. So if you have not done it at this point, do not send me a soft story email. Do not, you're out of class. You're withdrawn from the course. And so kind of looking at this class, 4, 5. So 5 of you are out in this one class. And then the other class, I do believe 4 of you are. Actually, that's pretty good numbers compared to what we usually get for online courses. A lot of people will sign up for an online course and then straight forget they signed up. And then before they know it, they're out because they didn't show up. It's the same as if you didn't show up physically for the first couple classes on campus. If you had a physical class on campus and didn't show up the first couple classes, you're withdrawn. So those will be withdrawn sometime today, but the rest of you, you've got something turned in, so you're in. So good job. So thank you for getting that in. I will try my best to get this graded, but I don't want to make any promises because I don't know with my health. My plan is to grade 1 class today, 1 class tomorrow, and 1 class on Friday. Don't want to make any promises though, because I don't know from moment to moment how my health is and whether or not I'm actually have the brain power to get something done. Because I can be physically here, but unfortunately with whatever I'm dealing with, it mentally causes a check out that Unfortunately, it keeps me from doing my job as much as efficiently and as effectively as I would hope. So as I'm trying to be more understanding of you, in particular with your situation, because it's totally new to all y'all. I need you to be understanding with my situation, with my health, that I'm not going to be as efficient as I would like, and I will try my best to use what time I do have some energy to get things done, but I don't want to make any promises that things are going to get done exactly when you want. So my apologies in advance, but I just want you to be aware of those things. So that's as far as the work and what has been done, or what should be done already. You should have gone over the syllabus already, and you should have done the diagnostic already. So that is last week's work. Now move on to this week's work. First things first, you need to read part 3, the writing processes, pages 109 to 131. The entirety of part 3, so I think there's multiple chapters there. What that basically means is the writing processes is the entire process of writing all rolled into one. In fact, this is a brand new textbook, and the first thing that made me very happy about it, back when I still had brain power to read this type of stuff, was that the old textbook had it broken down into 3 different chapters. This has it all rolled into one, because I like that, because it allows you, the student, to understand it's all part of the same process. Because when you separate it like that and have 3 separate parts, you may think that only one part is important. And in most cases with the student, it is the actual writing itself, the composition itself. You need to think of it all as one whole process, 3 parts as hard as one whole process: pre-writing, writing, and then the editing, revision, proofreading process, all rolled into one. And this book has it all rolled into one, which I like, because you need to do all 3. You need to think about what you're writing about before you actually write it. You need to then write it, compose it, and then you need to edit, revise, and proofread, so that you take care of, the revision process deals with content and structure. Editing and proofreading deals more with grammar, spelling, punctuation usage, punctuation marks, commas, in punctuation is what I meant before, commas, having independent clauses merged in with a comma. If it's 2 independent clauses, but you want to have them in the same sentence, use a semicolon. The use of the according conjunctions, the fanboys, you may have heard that before. Subordinate conjunctions, how they should be used, all that whole area. And so these are the areas that, maybe you don't get it while you're writing it, but then you know to clean it up in the after part. So one prepares you to write, the pre-writing process, and it goes over different things you can do there, and different methods you can use that will help you out depending on your learning style. Try to obviously figure out how you learn best when it comes to those classes in which you need to study for, and then use those same learning techniques to help you write as well, because it all works very similarly. If you're one who can hear me talk and you get it, great. Some of you won't get it that way. Some of you have to read it in a textbook, but you get it that way. Great there. Some of you need more visual elements in which to learn. Go in those directions. And so as you learn things in these certain areas, you can also learn how to communicate in those areas, or to more effectively communicate in those areas. So learn how you best learn, and then use that in the pre-writing method. Find what pre-writing method works best for you, and then stick with it until it no longer works. Odds are, if you're a certain type of learner, once you figure it out, that'll be the preferred pre-writing method that you'll use till the end of your academic life, and maybe even to your personal life, depending on what job you do end up with. But make sure you do it. The biggest problem with most, and I can tell it too, I can tell it from looking at an essay, and I can tell it from what time you turned it in. A lot of students, their idea of writing is 7 p.m. before the essay is due, the following morning at 3 a.m. basically. Sit down and start writing and hope that you write enough and get something sent into the instructor. So there's no pre-writing process. And then it's all type, compose. And then by the time you're done with it, you're so dead tired or don't care. You just want to get it in there, because it's usually about 2:30 in the morning because you waited till the last minute. Or your idea of editing, revision, and proofreading is eye scanning across a piece of paper. And I know this too, because I've had students read out loud in class, and that's what a lot of students do. They read, blah, 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 commas and periods be damned. And you write that way too, or you'll, in some cases, that's how you edit, revise, proofread. Eye scan, you might catch a few little things here or there, but it's going to look like the greatest writing ever, because it's 2:30 in the morning. You want to be done with it. You want to be in bed. And then I grade it in the next couple of days, and you end up with at best a 68, and then you're wondering how that happened. I've had students come into my office before. I'll turn my computer screen to them, and before I'm able to point to their mistakes, they're pointing out their own mistakes. Oh my God, I can't believe it did this. I can't believe it did that. Blah, blah, blah. And they're seeing it. Why? Because they have a fresh brain when they're in my office. So you want to you don't want that to be how you find out you didn't do it right. You want to find out you didn't do it right before an actual grade is attached. Um, and that's where the editing, revision, and proofreading reading process comes in. So again, it's 3 separate processes rolled into one. And again, why I like this textbook more than the old one, it has it all in one chapter or one part, and therefore you treat it as all one process, and therefore you'll do more likely to do all 3: pre-writing, the composition, and then the editing, revision, and proofreading part, all in one. So that is what that is. So read the whole of part 3, writing processes, pages 109 to 131. Make sure you do that. Also, read rhetorical situations, chapter 3, pages 28 to 34. And oh, by the way, just make sure this is the textbook. I don't know if y'all got a hardback or if it's similar to this, but this is the new textbook. And again, I already enjoyed so much more than the old textbook. And I technically haven't even used it yet because this will be the first time in which I would be doing it. But yes, particular with rhetorical situations, and the main lesson I want you to get out of this, understand the important elements of communication in any form of communication, but in particular in written communication. Always know your purpose, always know your audience. Always know your purpose, always know your audience. Always know why you're writing it, and always know who you're writing it for. Why you're writing it, and no, it's not just to get a good grade or to make me happy as instructor or to make a parent or a sibling or a child or your significant other or whomever else happy. Not even not making you happy because you got a good grade, although you do want to do well, of course, and do all those things for all of those people. It's about communicating your ideas and communicating yourself through the written language and through the rhetorical modes as they're given to you. How are you able to express those things? That's what this is all about. So understanding purpose and then understanding your audience, who you're doing it for. Because how you communicate to one person is different than how you communicate to others. That's how it should be. I already had this issue with my beginning class. I haven't had this issue with y'all yet, but I'll beat this off. Basically take this ahead of any issues that may come. How you communicate with an instructor is different than how you communicate with a classmate or your friend through email. I teach this lesson in my beginning class. When you all cap an email, you're yelling at the person you're all capping at. Same with no matter what communication. You do it on Facebook, you're yelling at them. You do it on Twitter, you're yelling at them. You do it in an email, you're yelling at them. Don't yell at me. I'm not going to respond well to that. So, certain other etiquette. It's Mr. Broussard. I can have that issue with y'all, but in the beginning, when you do an email, it's Mr. Broussard. If you were face to face with me, it would be Mr. Broussard. Understanding that etiquette, understanding how you're communicating with someone, and how you talk to your friends is going to be different than how you're going to talk to me, and that's a good thing. You don't want to be too informal with me because I'm in a professional setting. Academic is a professional setting, and it needs to be. I'm more informal than most when it comes to personal communication because I also understand I need to connect to my audience, but you also got to connect to me. So it's kind of like you got to meet. I have to be less formal when I'm with y'all, but y'all have to be more formal. You kind of meet in that little area in between, which allows us to make a connection. But you don't need to be completely informal with me because then if I think I'm being disrespected, you're going to feel very disrespected when I respond to you. I'm very good at that. But you also wouldn't want to be totally formal with your friends either, because then they're like, well, why are you talking like that? You sound they're going to tool on you basically if you remain too formal the whole time. Plus, it's not fun anyways because you want to be relaxed when you're with your friends. You want to be relaxed when communicating with your friends. So you have a different audience when you're with your friends than you would be with me, than you would be with your boss if you got a job. I know you probably want to tell your boss off. You want to tell me off. But if you want to either stay having a job or stay in a course like mine, you don't do it. At least don't make it too obvious. So understand the audience when you're communicating in those factors, and you have a different audience when you're communicating through the written word. So understand that audience and then tailor your writing to that audience. But The thing is, those aren't the only areas. Genre, of course, what type of writing are you doing? So that kind of works in with purpose, because the type of writing works in with why and how you're communicating. Because you can sometimes communicate things through a more formal essay, but you can also communicate things well through a narrative, and you will learn about that when you in a month or so when we get to those areas. Obviously, what is your stance? What is your opinion? You need to have that understanding, because, and you'll learn this when you go over thesis in the chapter I noted before. A proper thesis is a topic or idea and your slant or opinion on that topic or idea. Well, you need to make sure that your opinion is well known and be authoritative when you're noting it. Now, that doesn't mean you go and say, in this essay, I will note, or in my opinion, or I think, or I believe. You never say those words. You don't say that anywhere in your essay. You sure do not say that in a thesis or a concluding paragraph. You state it so authoritatively that it's basically stated as this is what it is. It's fact. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe you? And you have that wishy-washy language. Are you trying to convince me it's your opinion, or are you trying to convince yourself? That's why you should never say in my opinion, blah, 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 blah. No. I could say, you see the back of the wall here. You wouldn't say, in my opinion, the walls in this room are white. No. You say, the walls in this room are white. Note the authoritativeness of that. You do that in your thesis statement, you do that in your concluding statement, and you should have that type of authority throughout the entirety of your essay, but in particular in your thesis and concluding statements. Thinking about the larger context. Now, larger context fits in more with your concluding paragraph when you do have an essay, because most of the time, the internal parts of a proper concluding paragraph is about the larger context, and you need to have that be set out between your concluding statement, which is the first sentence of the concluding paragraph, and then the last sentence of your concluding paragraph, which is the emphatic finish and drop the mic moment when it comes to your essay. But larger context is what you do within the rest of the concluding paragraph, the internal parts of the concluding paragraph. And then how you get it out there and how it looks in a visual sense. It's going to be very basic because this is essays, but you always want to have this in mind, in particular if you have a means of communication that isn't strictly in an essay base. Always wanting to understand how the visual looks to the reader. If they're expecting an essay, of course, it looks like a basic essay, but you may have a different means of communicating. I'm doing this through a video, so the visual presence can sometimes come through. Now, right now, unfortunately, I'm just not carrying because I'm sick. But in general, I try to, you got to show presence through the screen. As an instructor, I have to show that, because far too long, an instructor does a video like this, and hopefully you don't feel that way, but it's boring, bland, and I seem like I'm an image of a screen. One of the biggest issues we have in society today is that we see each other just as images on a screen and not as actual human beings, as physical presences. I have to show my physical presence to you as an instructor. Hopefully you come through your writing, and hope then that shows with that. But if you're doing more of a visual thing, you'd have to come in through the screen as well, back at me. So with that understanding, how you do it and in what means you have showing all these things, with visuals, with possible text if you're doing certain things, if you're being more creative. We're not going to really get creative in this course, but some of the instructors do, and you may have it in other classes. So how you go about these things can be as important, because it's all about selling the idea. I do that when I do have my students do presentations. I say this, and it's sad, but it's true. How you present yourself in a presentation is as important, if not sometimes more important, than the information that you're putting forth. It's sad, yes, but that's the reality of the world today. It's how we get across. If you can have all the great information in the world, but if you can't communicate it, in the world of politics, they're called policy wonks. They're the type of person that you want in the background, working on every last little detail and every little thing and having it all in order. Yes, but you don't want that person on television. There was an era in which that was something that was looked forward to in politics. That era is long gone. So even when it was something you could sell, because you wanted to sell that extremely intelligent person who had all the data and stuff. Now it's got to be glitz and glamour and boards, the electronic boards and all this stuff. And blah, blah, blah. So basically you have to teach these policy wonks how to be on camera, and sometimes it's hilarious. But yeah, how you present yourself. So you don't really have that much of an issue when it comes to the writing, because everything's kind of basic, but do understand that is important in communication. So have that be something that you think about, not just while you're writing essays for me, but also in any type of communication you have in either an academic or professional setting. maybe even in your personal life, because it's all about selling yourself. And then the last thing you can read this week, chapter 19, strategies for supporting an argument through examples. Now, there's not an entire chapter here, because you'll go over this chapter again later in the semester, because examples are a good way of utilization when it comes to the argumentative. And so you will read this again when you get to that part of this class. But there is no full-fledged chapter on example or the illustrative essay, because it is the most basic of essay forms. And for a while there, I didn't teach this one because I thought this is so basic, they understand this. I learned the hard way, never to assume that. Particularly because this is a course, being a 1114 instead of a 1113, you need that extra work within an example essay. And the simplest thing I can tell you as far as what you do with an example or illustrative essay is you have something you believe in, but the reason you believe in it is because of examples either in your own life or the lives of people closest to you where you're an active part or an active observer of what went on and through either the things that have happened to you or to them. It is the reason you believe something. You believe in something or you don't believe in something because of the examples given. So that's what you need to do. Again, make sure you read the chapter, but the basics of that is through life examples, at least 3 life examples, your own or others, to fully explain why you believe what you believe. Now, let me say this, though. It needs to be more personal stuff. It does not need to be things that were in the news or anything that would need to be sourced, basically, because in this class, the only sourced thing in this class will be the argumentative essay. And if you have any source material in any other part of anything in this class, whether it be a journal or any of the other essays, it's an automatic 0. For starters, I'm not going to teach you how to do proper, I'm going to teach you, actually, here's the thing about it. Most everything in this class is going to be MLA 8th edition stuff, framework. And you have an example MLA edition header, page header, and title. And everything you do in this class must have that, except for one assignment. Your argumentative essay will be an APA. I will teach you APA, not only framework, but I will teach you APA sourcing and citing. And then that is what you will then use when it comes to that argumentative essay. You'll basically merge the argumentative in the APA framework to be able to write that type of an essay. We changed that a few years ago because we were asked by other instructors around here and in other universities to do APA essays in Comp 1, because everyone has to take Comp 1, but not everybody has to take Comp 2. And therefore, if you're in a STEM type of area, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, you need to know all that APA stuff, because more likely when you do research essays for those STEM areas, it's almost exclusively an APA format. Well, if we didn't teach that to you in Comp 1, because we fall under MLA, Modern Language Association, and for a while there, I was steadfast, no, it's MLA because that's what we do. We were asked, they need to learn APA because if they don't have to take Comp 2, they won't get the APA stuff they need for all these science, math, engineering, technological courses that they have to use that. So we teach the APA as far as we teach both as far as framework in Comp 1, but in the APA we teach also sourcing and citing, and then we'll teach sourcing citing MLA in Comp 2 if and when you need to take that, because that works well with the literature of Comp 2. So we'll teach that later on, but I'm not teaching you until later in the semester. Why? Because I don't want to even tempt you to try to source material in anything in this class other than the argumentative, because if you do, it's a 0. So just know that now. When you give the examples for this example illustrative essay, it needs to be life examples from your own life and the lives of others. It does not need to be from news stories or from a book or something else, because there's to be no source material. I want actual life experiences to be what comes through in this essay, because the example is the first of the rhetorical modes that you will learn. And so you're learning the basics of how to write an essay this week, and then the first of the rhetorical modes. So you'll, along with noting purpose and audience, learning about genre and how to fit that into what you're putting forth and how to put information out there. And then next week, it'll be strictly due work on that essay, because you will have an essay that is due. The example essay will need to be at least 700 words, at least 5 paragraphs, at least 700 words. It can be more if you want, on both the amount of paragraphs and the words that are in it. Then that would be due, I do believe I have that due on September 15th at 2:59 a.m. So basically 2 weeks, you'll be getting an essay done, then another 2 weeks, another essay, and 3 weeks on the following essay. And then the rest of the class will be focused strictly on that argumentative, because it'll not only be learning the new rhetorical mode, but it's also learning about sourcing and citing and how to do research and how to do proper APA. So that takes longer. So, but as far as right now is concerned, you're just working on this. So everything that we went over for this week, make sure you read it. You do have a journal that is due. It is due Tuesday at 2:59 a.m. I may actually move that to Wednesday simply because I'm not going to be here. No one's going to be physically on campus on Monday because it is Labor Day. And Tuesday, just to let you know, I will not be here after noon on Tuesday because I have a CT scan. So if you have any questions about the journal, by the way, you better get it to me either this week or no later than Tuesday morning. So I will move that to Wednesday. But as far as the journals are concerned, what you need to do, some of you might be wondering, I give you a topic in each and every one, a very broad topic on each and every journal that you write. So this week it's water. What you need to do is take that broad topic of water and narrow down the focus from water to something about water in which you would like to write about. And you need to write at least 2 strong paragraphs and at least get to the bottom of page 1. It can go more. You can go to page 2, page 3, or whatever else. But you need to have all the text get to at least the bottom line of page 1. And that includes your header, page header, and title in MLA 8th edition format. It must be the way it is. Also note, no blank space lines. Do not have blank space lines anywhere in the header, page, or title area, nor have anything between that title and the text. And definitely don't have the blank space lines between paragraphs because that's just throwing points away. 5 points, every single one of those you have gets thrown away. Every single line needs to have text from the very first page header until the last line of whatever composition you write, with only a few exceptions, and those exceptions will deal in the research essay that we'll do later in the semester, and I'll tell you why the differences are that way. But everything else, every single line of text, of the line within the composition must have text on it from the very first page header all the way to the very last line of your composition. And that includes the journals. So with the journals, at least 2 strong paragraphs, at least 5 strong sentences each, and at least 4 full lines of text. The whole composition, including the header, page header, title, and the at least 2 paragraphs, needs to get to the bottom of page 1. It can go longer if it needs to be. And as far as what you're writing about, take the broad topic, in which case this week is water, and narrow the broad topic down to something about water, which you would like to write about. Now, what I don't want you to write about, don't give me the chemical compounds of water. Do not tell me a certain percentage of our bodies is water or a certain percentage of the earth is water. Nothing scientific. Because if it's scientific, it needs to be sourced. And if it's sourced, it's a 0. Cannot stress this enough. Some of you will still do it. And then you'll be shocked when I put a 0 on it. If you're lucky, I don't say it's a plagiarism because technically you plagiarized. Please follow directions. And those directions can be either written or verbal through these videos, through the videos, visual and verbal through the videos. You have to do what I say. Do not have any of that information. Again, the nice thing is just giving you the 0. I should give you a plagiarism 0 and 2 of those when you fail the course. No academic sourced scientific material. I don't want to know the chemical compounds of water. Don't want to know the percentage of this, that, or the other is water. Nothing scientific. No facts, no figures, nothing to be sourced. What do I want? Where do you like to fish? Where do you like to swim? Do you like to go skiing, water skiing, or snow skiing? Because guess what? Frozen water is one of many forms of frozen water is snow, or things on ice. You like to go ice fishing. Talk about ice fishing. Do you have a lake that you love going to, or you like to go on the river, or just chilling with your friends, doing this or the other? Go to the islands. Go to Destin. Go to Panama City Beach. Something close or that to where you take the broad topic of water and you narrow the focus down to something which you would like to write about. Maybe you have a storm, whether it be Katrina or another storm, and want to write about your experiences going through those storms. It's just got to be take the broad topic and narrow focus because it does 2 things. One, it allows your life experiences kind of go out, so it kind of is more free flowing out of you. And 2, this is my biggest thing in the world, and I will say this all semester. I want to make you think whether you like it or not. And I want to make you think as far as all the scientific stuff is cheap writing. It's basically, I can just blah, 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 45% of blah, 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 blah. There's no thought process behind that. It's boring, and there's no thought process. I want to see your thought process through the writing process. It's a big deal that I have. And I want to make you think whether you like it or not. And cheap writing devices, I want them all gone. By the way, no famous person quote. Don't ever throw a famous person quote at me or I will just send it right back at you. Especially because the second of the 2 journal topics is fear. And if any of you say the only thing that's fear is fear itself, it's a 0 automatic. Screw you. I want to make you think whether you like it or not. No cheap writing devices. I want the thought process through the writing process, and I want you to think, okay, what about water do we want to write about? Okay, I remember this, that, and the other. I like doing this. I like going to the islands with my friends and enjoy whatever it is we enjoy. Good. That's what I want. I want the personal through you, through your writing to come through. So hopefully I stressed that enough. We've hit 30 minutes, and I should have, unfortunately, really should do these videos longer than 20 minutes at best, but I'm long-winded. Plus, the long one would have been last week, but unfortunately I was sick then. I'm still sick now. I'm kind of shocked I made it this long. I think I'm just running on fumes. Good news is this is going to be one video for 2 classes, so that kind of works out well for me. Also, my voice is going, if you couldn't tell. So, hope you're all well. Hopefully, I'm well sometime in the near future. I'm not as immediately responding to things. Please understand my illness. Although do also understand my hours and my time. If I wasn't sick, even if I wasn't sick, I wouldn't be checking as much on my own time because it's my own time. I have a life, believe it or not, or I used to. And do understand that if your assignment is due 2:59 the next morning and your first email to me is like 9 in the evening before it's due, and then you're mad at me because I didn't respond, you deserve what you get. So don't be that person. Y'all didn't do that to me. Beginning to do that to me. Not y'all. Beginning to do that to me. So be more interesting. It looks like your crew seems to be good on that. So I'll give you that appreciation. And thank you for being that way. But continue to be that way. I hope you're all well. I hope I'm well soon. I know I've just said that, but I'm kind of running with a brain that is dead right now. So I'll just go ahead and end this now and hope you all have a good week. And I hope to send you another video sometime Tuesday or Wednesday of next week.